Hello and welcome to the Note Coach podcast. This is episode 341, How to Force Yourself to Take Action. I'm your host, Suzanne Kohlberg. If you're new to this show, this is a daily podcast at the time of recording this, up until day 365. So we are on the home straight now. And a lot of questions people ask is, how do you force yourself to take action? How do you force yourself to keep recording day in, day out, every single day? Because a lot of us have things that we want to do, that we know to do, dare I say we should do. I do tend to avoid that term, but we just don't. We say, I'll do it later, and later becomes tomorrow, and tomorrow becomes Monday, the universal day to change our life, and Monday becomes next week, and so on and so forth. So how do we force ourselves to take action? I covered this in a very early episode. So after this, you may want to go and listen to episode 25, the penny principle, but I'm going to talk similarly to that here. The thing is, we have a goal. So say, for example, you want to exercise for 45 minutes each day, whether that be a walk, a jog, Pilates, a yoga, a CrossFit, a HIIT, whatever it is. You want to exercise for 45 minutes a day. That's what your doctor told you or whatever. When you think to yourself, I'm going to exercise for 45 minutes, and you wake up in the morning, you think, oh, it's too dark. I'll do it after work. And then after work, oh, I need to cook dinner. I'll do it after dinner. And then after dinner, oh, I'm too tired. I'll do it tomorrow. And then you tell yourself, well, tomorrow I'll do an hour and a half to make up for today. And so on and so forth. The next thing you know, it's Friday and you're like, man, if I do like a 6-hour session today, does this count? So how to force yourself to take action is, instead of looking at the goal, 45 minutes of exercise, or, in this case, recording an entire podcast, or you're writing a chapter of your book, or whatever your goal is to break it down into what I call a penny. A penny is such a small action that you're almost embarrassed to share it publicly. So for me, I like to exercise for 45 minutes a day, but my penny is to put on my shoes, to lace up my runners. I love how I call them runners when I never run. Sand shoes, sneakers, walking shoes, whatever you want to call them, to lace them up and to walk to my mailbox. And you may be listening to this and thinking, well, her mailbox must be a long way from her house. No, it's exactly 12 steps. So how I force myself to take action is, if I say to myself, I have to go for a walk for 45 minutes, I will come up with every single excuse under the sun as why I can't do it today. It's too early, it's too dark, it's too hot, it's too cold, it's too wet, I didn't get enough sleep, and so on and so forth. And it just never happens. But if I say to myself, I have to put my shoes on and walk to the mailbox, there is no excuse for that. I've walked to the mailbox while sick. I've walked to the mailbox while it's raining, while the sun is out, while it's hot, while it's cold, and so on and so forth, because it's fucking 12 steps and anybody can do that. Where the magic happens is that once I've made the mailbox, 9 times out of 10, or dare I say 99 times out of 100, I actually will commit to checking this out. So follow the show as I update you on this. But the majority of the time, I keep going. I never say to myself, I've made the mailbox, I'm going to go for 45 minutes. It's normally like this. I've made the mailbox. Oh, it's a nice sunrise. I'll go to the end of the street. Then I make it to the end of the street and I've started listening to a podcast and I've got engaged in that episode. So I'm like, I'll make it to that post, and so on and so forth. And the next thing you know, I have done 45 minutes by semi-tricking myself into it, though I trick myself into it every single damn day. The same as recording this show. How do I force myself to take action? I have a spreadsheet. This is how technical I am in business. On my spreadsheet, I have a list of potential topics that I like. Sometimes I'm really motivated. I'm like, I can't wait to talk about this today. Like today, I was like, I can't wait to talk about forcing yourself to take action. This was an easy one. There are other days where I'm like, I look through the list and none of them jump out at me. And like, if you've listened to this show for a while, there've been episodes called, this might really bomb, or some days it's trash. Oh, I don't have a topic, and I just hit record and I go. And if you listen to those episodes, especially re-listen, or if you're new to the show and you haven't listened, keep in mind as you're listening to my episodes, sometimes I start with, Like, yes, I'm sure you can tell by the rhythm and the cadence and the excitement in my voice that I am excited to talk about this today. And other days, it's just like, this is episode whatever. But forcing myself to hit record, whether the episode is 2 minutes or 20 minutes. Like my goal for this show is 15 minutes or less, but some days they're 2 or 3 minutes and some days they go past the 15. I don't edit. But as long as there is a show daily, that's all that matters. So my penny is a show gets recorded. My goal is around 15 minutes-ish, give or take, depending on the topic. So all of this to say, whatever your goal is, like I'm coaching a client currently and she wants to make inbox 0. That's her goal. Now, she doesn't really have the time to literally carve out, to sit down, or the wherewithal, or the want to go through and delete thousands of emails. So her penny, like the way she's forcing herself to take action on that task, is each day she ends the day with less emails than she started. So if she woke up today and there's 4,000 emails in her inbox, she needs to end the day on at least 3,999, and then so on and so forth. So she's slowly chipping away at that goal. I have another client who has a deceased estate to declutter, unpack, sell, put on the market. That is a huge process. Like, here you go. Here's an entire house. Here's someone's entire life to pack up and, deal with. You could take a month off work or whatever, or you could hire someone. Like, there's so many ways that you could do this, but it's not time sensitive. So it's like a drawer or a surface or one thing at a time, like how to force yourself to take action. I'm going to, whenever I visit this house, move at least one item. Then once you get there, most people don't stop at one. Like, I have people who I work with, I'm not like a decluttering coach by any means, but they want to declutter. And it's like, commit to throwing out one thing every day or rehoming it, repurposing it, whatever works for you. But forcing yourself to take action, setting the goal so small that you can't not do it. And that's your penny. And then continuing to take action on it. So whether it be, as I said, my one, walking to my post box, which is 12 steps from my house, but my goal is actually 45 minutes, or my client who's slowly chipping her way towards inbox 0, or packing up a deceased estate, or writing a book. Like, I have a book called The Beginning of Shit. If you want to find it, go to our website, suzannekohlberg.com. You can read the first 2 chapters there. You don't even need to sign up. You can just read it. And if you like it, there's links to where you can purchase it from. I wrote that in 15 minutes a day over 6 months, because when I sat down, like, originally I booked myself like an Airbnb and I took myself away from my husband and kids. I was like, I'm going to write my book. That process did not work for me. For some people it does, but for me, I do better forcing myself to take action on the daily, making that action so small. It's embarrassing. It's like, well, what's this ever going to achieve? But then keeping that momentum going with consistent and persistent action so that I get my 45 minutes of exercise in almost every single day. But instead of forcing myself, saying you have to do this and all these routines that don't work, instead choosing something that's so small, I get that sense of achievement, I get that win, I get that run on the board, and then I keep going. That's how I wrote a book. That's how I'm day 341 of 365 days of daily podcasts. That's how I walk, move, have some sort of movement every single day. And, you can do this. The thing is, it's the simplicity that will trip you up. You'll listen to this and you're, oh, what's the point? I don't want to walk 12 steps. I want to walk 40 minutes. I don't want to write for 15 minutes. I want to write an entire book. I don't want to, but that's where you trip yourself up, because you like doing the home run and the all or nothing mentality. And we know how all or nothing for most of us literally ends up being nothing. So force yourself to take action by picking an action that's so small, it's embarrassing, and then doing that and noticing that sense of achievement. And also, once you're in the position, you keep going. I remember working with a client once who had to physio an injury, and she had the exercises from the physiotherapist, and she was like, I just never do them, Suzanne. I know I'm supposed to do this set of exercises. It literally only takes 10 minutes. I just never do them. And I said, well, what's the barrier to entry here? And she's like, oh, just getting down on the floor. I'm in a lot of pain. Getting down on the floor hurts. So I was like, instead of doing your 10 minutes of exercise every day, what if you just get on the floor every day? And she laughed and she's like, okay, we'll give it a go. And the next week she's like, you know what? I did it. I committed to myself that I'm going to get on the floor every day. That's the action she forces herself to take. Then once she's on the floor, well, I'm already here. Might as well do a stretch. And once she's done one stretch, I might as well do the next stretch. And the next thing you know, she had done the 10 minutes of stretches every single day. For months, she's been telling herself, I need to do 10 minutes of stretches every day, had never done it. Changing it to I need to get myself onto the floor was all she needed to then actually do the thing. Make the barrier to entry so low that you can't not do it. So as you're listening to this, if you're watching on YouTube, you can comment in the comment box that I invite you to. What's your goal? Like, what's the thing ideally you want to do? 45 minutes of walk every day, 15 minutes of stretches, declutter your house, whatever. Like, what's the big picture? And then what's your penny? What's your thing that's so small that you're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm going to admit this publicly. And then do that for a week. And if you want to, report back, let us know how it goes, because this is the magic in forcing yourself to take action and make it so small that you can't not do it, and then just watch the magic unfold. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you head over to my website, suzannekohlberg.com, highly encourage you, sign up to my email list. My emails are fun. I send them about once a week or so, and they have, tips and tricks similar to this show. And yeah, if you are loving the show, I encourage you to tune into some more episodes. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.